America's not the world's policeman. Terrible things happen across the globe, and it is beyond our means to right every wrong. But when, with modest effort and risk, we can stop children from being gassed to death and thereby make our own children safer over the long run, I believe we should act.
That was President Barack Obama addressing the nation last night about his plans to deal with the conflict in Syria. Welcome to the News Hub. It's Wednesday morning, and I'm Sarah Murray. President Obama says he'll pursue a diplomatic solution to try to get Syria to turn over its chemical weapons. But he's keeping the possibility of a military strike on the table in case those discussions fail. He's also asking Congress to delay a vote on whether to authorize military action, a vote the president appeared poised to lose amid skepticism from lawmakers and a war-weary public. Meanwhile, Secretary of State John Kerry will meet tomorrow with his Russian counterpart in Geneva to continue talks. Joining us now is former U.S. Ambassador to Syria, Richard Murphy. Thank you very much for joining us. So first, why don't you just give me your take off the top of whether the president said anything new or what kind of the big takeaway was there?
No, I don't think we heard anything new about his thinking and his approach last night, but it was a summary of what has been coming out in bits and pieces. I had hoped we would hear something more, some more of the facts that had led us to the conclusion, no question, that Syrian regime was responsible. But there basically was a good exposition of how we reached the decision and that we're ready to go with the diplomatic solution if it's possible.
And it does seem like that kind of sets us up for kind of a tricky path going forward when you're talking about this diplomatic solution that they're trying to, to hash out with the UN. So talk a little bit about what's at play there.
Well, we're coming immediately to a crunch with the Russians over whether to include in the resolution consequences. That if the Syrian government does not move ahead, as it has said it would, then there will be consequences.
And Russia's not a fan of this concept.
No, not at all. It says I think Putin himself said something about when you're getting someone to disarm, you don't use force against them. Well, the only reason we got to the point we did was because obviously the Syrians were persuaded, perhaps more than some Americans were persuaded. By the threat. They moved, and all of a sudden, a government which had never acknowledged it had chemical weapons said yes, it did, and it was going to welcome international inspection, control, and destruction of their stocks. So things have been moving very rapidly, but there's a question that lingers in Washington and other capitals. Can they be trusted to now move ahead with the agreed plan?
And one of the things that the president was doing last night is he was drawing on these images of basically children being gassed, and it seemed like he was trying to appeal to the American public that this is important and we do need to be prepared to strike. But do you feel like that really resonates with Americans? I don't know that a lot of people are going home at night and looking up those YouTube videos and watching what the actual effects of a chemical attack are.
The videos are horrible, but I agree. I think that the public has not, it's not been supportive of the idea that we had to move. Why should we invest? Why should we be the world's policeman? All of the hesitations and doubts about the American role have come up again as we seem to be getting ready to be involved militarily. And the assurances that it would be a limited involvement, a limited strike, didn't raise the percentage in our public that was ready to support him, or in the Congress. And
just, even if we are crafting some resolution, if we can try to come up with this diplomatic agreement, this is a tough thing to do logistically, right? To say that, we're going to send people into Syria, we're going to figure out where these chemical weapon stockpiles are, and we're just going to round them up and take care of them.
Yeah, well, it's like a Verdi opera libretto. You've got 60 separate sites with chemical weapons and chemical stocks. You have a war going on inside Syria, a civil war, and you expect that international inspectors are going to be free to move around, to settle, inspect, control, and start a destruction process, which is going to take years in any case. It's a big task, but given the alternatives, it's more promising at the moment.
Ambassador, thank you very much for joining us.